It's that time again where I go to Europe and I take you with me.
I fucked that up.
You have to zoom in.
I got this. Where we made
Hey!
So this is by far my favorite trip I've ever been on, and I really think the reason for that is because I was surrounded by so many amazing people this entire trip. I flew into Berlin with my good friend John, his husband, and we met our friend Lauren there. We stayed at this really interesting boat hostel that John picked out, and it was in East Berlin, one of the most chaotic, crazy parts of the city. It was kind of miserable, hot, close quarters, smelt weird, but in hindsight, it was such a bonding experience. I didn't get any footage of the room when we first got there, so I'm gonna show you 3 days into us living in this room. I forgot to show you our room, which is an absolute wreck now because we've made ourselves at home. But it's this tiny little cabin in the bottom of the boat. I'm sleeping up there, I'm getting ready currently. Lauren is gonna sleep down here, and then John and Corey are sleeping here. And this is the view. So cute, but really hot. And then the bathroom is just this tiny little thing. Oh my god, she's in here. Oh my gosh.
Corey's like, what?
Oh no, I just have this vivid memory of one night we came home from the bar, everyone was exhausted. I was on the top bunk, John was down on the bottom, and we were just having this like deep conversation, and Corey basically had to tell us to shut up because we were keeping everyone up. But it was just so cozy and intimate, and I don't know, it just gave off the right sort of vibes for like late night chats. So even though it was hot as hell, it was still so much fun. We actually could not check in right when we got there because check-in wasn't till later in the afternoon. So we had to pretend like jet lag wasn't a thing, it didn't exist. We dropped off our luggage and then we hit the streets and just went straight to exploring the city and getting a feel of where things were and how it felt. On this trip, I was honestly so surprised by how many different people from all around the world that we met, and all of these meetings happened by chance. One night we made our way back to our hostel and we noticed 2 people were tagging a part of the Berlin Wall, and there was this one girl who was sort of the lookout. So we introduced ourselves and we asked if we could watch. Turns out this couple that was tagging the wall is from Sweden, and they were with their friend who was from the Ukraine. She was actually staying on our hostel, so we got to hang out with them and keep up with them while we were there. We decided, I think on the first or second night, to go clubbing.
The right is so different than the
What if you sit on like opposite direction?
I fucked that up.
No,
I fucked that up.
no, it's okay. I can clean off the bottom. The top doesn't, I mean, the top,
No, it's too high. No, it's too high.
it's okay. It's honestly, it's,
No,
no,
it looks good.
I'm gonna clean the bottom up, obviously, but like, it's nothing bad.
It can be fixed.
Yeah.
No.
And if you know anything about clubs in Berlin, you know that it can be kind of a pretentious scene. It's not always guaranteed that you're actually going to get into the club. They can be very judgmental, and they won't let you in for things like what you're wearing, how you look, who you're with. They are just very harsh. I thought maybe we had like a 60-70% chance of getting in, but since we were with kind of a big group and we were foreigners, I think maybe that's why we got denied. But we were definitely kicked to the curb our first attempt at a Berlin club. It was kind of devastating to me because I really genuinely love techno music and I wanted to experience that. We felt it in our ego a little bit, but decided that we would try again. So we made our way to another club with one of the rejects who became one of our friends, and this club was closed. So we decided that it was a sign and clubbing in Berlin was just not in the cards for us. We actually made our way back basically to where we started, right by our hostel, and we spent the whole entire night at a Spezi, which is basically a 24-hour convenience store. This place had no doors, playing loud music, picnic tables, so we just grabbed some drinks, some snacks, and we called it Club Spezi. Lauren actually had her Polaroid camera with her, and she asked this random guy walking by if he would take a picture of us. And turns out he was there with a bunch of his friends from the Netherlands, and they were doing some sort of like skateboard tour. So we got to talking and they ended up hanging out with us that entire night. We watched the sunrise. It was so much fun. Very out of my norm, but probably one of the most fun nights I've ever had.
One more.
Wow.
I'm gonna look right in the camera. So no distraction. I got this. Where we made the whole night of
Every night was kind of like this, just staying up late, hanging out with people. During the day, we did get to see some museums and we hit up a couple of thrift shops.
Storm and it's open until Jonathan!
It's just going.
The thrift style. Story about our friends who went to Munich and they got shit-faced. I missed a button.
Looks cute.
And I was thinking with these.
Yeah. Full liter hose. Looks cool. We did a lot of walking and just got to see Berlin and experience what it had to offer. After about 3 or 4 nights with John, Corey, and Lauren, I split up from them and I went to go meet my friend Ronny, who I had not seen since 2018. So it was really nice to catch up and hang out. It was a very low-key time, which I appreciated because I needed to recuperate and catch up on sleep from the nights before. After 2 nights hanging out with Ronny, I was off to Budapest, Hungary. That's where I met my friend Adam, who hosted me for a whole week.
This caramel thing is too much for me. Like,
it's just sugar.
I mean,
That's why I like European like sweets, because they're. Go ahead.
what is this then? Mango chili.
First impression.
Mmm.
You like it?
Yes.
And not only did I have a personal tour guide, but I had my own personal chef. This guy knows how to make bread from scratch. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of unheard of. Every time he would cook something, it would smell like my mom's kitchen, and it made me feel so at home. I absolutely loved it. He is an amazing cook. I cannot remember all of the dishes, all of the Hungarian dishes we tried, but I will put up pictures and leave the names of them so you can try them if you're ever in Hungary, because it's some of the most delicious food I've ever tasted. We did a lot of sightseeing and touristy things, which I feel had to be done. I actually loved the ruin bar we went to, and I think I'd probably hang out there even if I was a local. There's just something about it that is so unique. We actually went there quite early, which I recommend, so you can see the whole bar and walk around. You're allowed to draw and write on the walls, so it was cool to leave our mark behind. Another thing we did that I really recommend is the underground labyrinth under Buda Castle. Vlad the Impaler was actually held prisoner there for 14 years. It just had very weird, eerie, creepy vibes, which I happen to love. I forget what it was called. It was called like the Maze of Darkness or something, but it's a portion of the labyrinth that is totally pitch black, and you have to find your way through it with just like touching the walls and slowly walking. Unfortunately, people with their cell phone lights ruined it, but we did get a moment where we were just in complete darkness, and it actually made me feel dizzy. It really messed with my senses. I think if we would have completed the whole part of the labyrinth that was completely in darkness, it would have been a really cool experience. Highly recommend that if you ever venture over there. Out of everything we did, I have to say my absolute favorite thing was the views of the city. The city itself is kind of dreary and dark and has a lot of dark history to it, but it's also incredibly beautiful at the same time. It has a big city feel, but it just feels very slow paced and relaxed when you're actually in the city. Adam is also a musician and producer, so he made my dreams come true and helped me make some techno. These two songs are not finished. It was just for fun, but basically I got to pick out 5 different tones. And then he worked his magic, and I kind of got to instruct him on how I wanted it to sound. I think this song has a lot of potential. So I'm gonna play like 15 seconds of it, and you can let me know what you think. Listen to techno in the clubs, but we made it. So I feel like we came out on top here. I will put a link to his Spotify in the description so you can hear the genius that is him. I feel like I took away so much from this trip. Facing fears and building connections were the main themes, I think. And I just feel so incredibly grateful for everyone that is in my life, everyone that I met, everyone that I got to hang out with. I am truly, truly grateful. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.